Hey friends, welcome to Sabbath School Daily, where we have been studying from this lesson right here, 3 Cosmic Messages. This week we've studied lesson number 11, which has the title, The Seal of God and the Mark of the Beast, Part 1. And today is Final Thought Friday, where we come together just to sum up the week's lesson, read a quote from Friday's lesson, and just move on, or prepare to move on into the next lesson starting tomorrow. So I'd like to read to you a quote that is given in the lesson. It's a big paragraph that comes from The Great Controversy, page 582. Like I said, it's a bigger paragraph, but I think it brings a lot of value to what we've talked about this week. And this is what it says. From the very beginning of the Great Controversy in heaven, it has been Satan's purpose to overthrow the law of God. It was to accomplish this that he entered upon his rebellion against the Creator, and though he was cast out of heaven, he has continued the same warfare upon the earth. To deceive men and thus lead them to transgress God's law is the object which he has steadfastly pursued. Whether this be accomplished by casting aside the law altogether or by rejecting one of its precepts, the result will be ultimately the same. In seeking to cast contempt upon the divine statutes, Satan has perverted the doctrines of the Bible, and errors have thus become incorporated into the faith of thousands who profess to believe in the scriptures. The last great conflict between truth and error is but the final struggle of the long-standing controversy concerning the law of God. Upon this battle we are now entering, a battle between the laws of men and the precepts of Jehovah, between the religion of the Bible and the religion of fable and tradition. So what today's lesson, what this quote makes clear, is that at the center of this conflict is an accusation against God, and his law. Now, the Bible tells us in the book of Psalms that God's law is as holy as he is. And the only reason why God's law is as holy as he is because God's law represents and stands for his character. God's law is a revelation of his character. The laws of life, the laws of fidelity, the laws of honesty, of integrity, the laws of contentment, the laws of worship, the laws that define who God is, all of these represent attributes of God's character, attributes of God's personality. And so to cast aside God's law is to cast God aside. Tell me, which one of the 10 commandments, which one of the moral laws could be cast aside, could be set aside, and nothing change regarding God's nature, regarding God's character, regarding God's personality? The moment you cast aside, the moment you set aside, or you change, or you twist, or you split God's law, God's moral law, God is not the same God anymore. So that's why the Bible makes it clear that God's character is a representation of who he is. That's why it is as holy as he is. That's why the Adventist church takes God's law so seriously. It's not done out of legalism. No one that understands biblical doctrine, and unfortunately I have to make that clear, because there are people in the Adventist church who they do go about their religion in a legalistic way. And what legalism represents is those who believe that the works of the law will save. Okay, in the New Testament language, in the Greek language, there is no word for legalism. So when you find in the New Testament the words works of the law, you can define that, you can translate that as legalism. And what that defines is the sentiment that you can be saved by your own works, by the works of the law. You look at it closely, that is the problem of the church of Laodicea. They think that they are rich. They think that they can see. They think that they're clothed. They think that everything's fine. And we're talking about believers. This is a letter that was written to the church of Laodicea. We're not talking to atheists or to people that don't believe, to unbelievers. That letter is sent to believers, and they think that everything is fine. They're being observed or judged by their works. In the letter, you literally find Christ saying that he knows their works. So that is what is under analysis. And there are 3 kinds of works in that letter. You have the cold works, the hot works, and the lukewarm works. And when you go to the New Testament, because the Bible is what should define itself, right? The Bible is not defined by us out of our own ideas. The Bible defines itself. When you go to the New Testament and you allow the Bible to define itself, you also find that there are 3 kinds of works there. You have works of the law, works of the flesh, and works of the spirit. Those 3 kinds of works. So the works of the flesh obviously would represent the works, the cold works, right? Being cold spiritually. The works of the works of the spirit would represent being hot spiritually. You're close to God. You're passionate about Him. You are hot spiritually. And the lukewarm works, the only thing that's left is the works of the law. And what that defines is that this lukewarm church truly is a church that believes that it saves itself, right? One thing that's really interesting about Laodicea, literal Laodicea, is that it was in a valley. On one side, you have Hierapolis, which is where Cleopatra used to go for her warm baths, right? So it's hot water springs. On the other side, you have a range of mountains where water flows, cold water, right? Ice melted water or snow melt runs down those range of mountains. And in the middle, you find in the conjunction of these waters, you find a lukewarm water. So it made a lot of sense to those people living right there what the Revelator was saying. Additionally, you would find some of the most well-refined gold in the empire coming from Laodicea, and Laodicea was famous for their eye salve. Additionally, Laodicea was an extremely proud city. In one occasion, they were destroyed by an earthquake, and when Rome sent help and money and resources for it to rebuild itself, Laodicea said, "You can leave. We don't need your help. We don't want your help. We can take care of ourselves." So it was an extremely proud city. And so in the letter of Laodicea, you see all of this playing in to define that these people, they thought that they could be saved by themselves. And so in the Bible, you do not find that. Works of the law do not save. Legalism does not save. So I know that I went down a deep rabbit hole just to explain that, but I think that it needed to be stated, right? But when you look at the biblical law, the law was never given to save anybody, right? The law was given to define God, right? God is defined by His character, by His personality, and the law was given to give us a standard of what sin is. So in attacking the law, Lucifer, he's attacking God. And in attacking God, he is attacking His law. So in these end times, when we find a power that is trying to change God's law, to define God as anything other than the Creator, anything other than the Lord of the Sabbath, because the Sabbath is not important anymore, it's been changed, it doesn't represent what God made it to represent, well, there you see the works of an antichrist power, in the sense of a power that goes against God and a power that tries to set itself up in the place and in the authority of God. So I hope that was made clear with this week's lesson. I hope you studied this lesson. It was a deep one. It was a very revealing one. And also prepare for next week's lesson, because we have part 2, right? The seal of God and the mark of the beast, part 2. So study your lesson, and please remember to like, to share, and to subscribe to our videos. We release one every day, and I hope to see you again here tomorrow for another study of Sabbath School Daily.